Sorata Kanata is a university student living in the Sakura Dormitory, a dormitory that often houses weirdos and social rejects. Over time he has gotten used to the shenanigans of his housemates Nanami, Misaki, Jin, and Rinosuke, as well as the dorm administrator, his teacher Chihiro. But after Chihiro's cousin, Mashiro, arrives at the dorm, Sorata has to start taking care of her because Mashiro has absolutely no common sense. But while Sorata has to help Mashiro navigate daily life, she in turn has helped him improve in his artistic skills. Just before the holidays arrive, Sorata is waiting for the upcoming results for a game development competition he entered, especially since the last competition he entered ended in disappointment. But while he is waiting, he notices that Mashiro is acting quite differently than usual, making multiple efforts to make him happy. Meanwhile, Misaki is becoming increasingly assertive in her endeavors to capture Jin's heart, coming up with different plans, but ultimately is unsuccessful in getting his attention. As Christmas Eve approaches, Mashiro is invited to a special event and will be unavailable, so Nanami seizes the opportunity to ask Sorata out on a date. Sorata and Nanami spend a delightful Christmas Eve together, cherishing each other's company. However, their joy is interrupted when they discover that Mashiro has departed from the festivities and cannot be located. After eventually reuniting with her, Sorata at last opens the letter containing the results to the video game competition, and he discovers that once he has passed the first round of the competition. Upon returning home as a trio, they encounter a disheartened Misaki, who discloses that despite confessing her true feelings to Jin, he inexplicably refuses to be her boyfriend, even though she is the one he genuinely cares for. During the winter break, 4 residents of Sakura Dormitory, namely Sorata, Nanami, Mashiro, and Misaki, enjoy their holidays in Fukuoka, which happens to be Sorata's hometown. Each of them faces their unique challenges upon arriving at Sorata's place. However, with mutual support and encouragement, they quickly adapt to Sorata's hometown. Sorata, preparing for an upcoming presentation for his video game competition, receives unwavering support from both his family and friends, ensuring his success. Misaki, who has been in a melancholic state since Christmas Eve, finally finds significance in the series of events that have transpired, and decides to take a step forward in her path to a relationship with Jin. Meanwhile, Mashiro continues striving to acquire new knowledge and skills, and she reconciles with Sorata and voluntarily assists him alongside Nanami. Sorata's younger sister Yuko, aspiring to apply to Suermai University of the Arts, ultimately gains her father's approval with the assistance of her brother, who helps convince the family head of the benefits of art school. In the end, the entire Kanda family and the residents of Sakura Dormitory enter the new year with renewed passion and enthusiasm for their respective lives. Today is Sorata's big presentation day, and Nanami approaches Misaki, requesting permission to utilize the new script Jin has sent for her upcoming audition. During the presentation, Sorata confidently elaborates on his game concept, only to receive the news that the game company finds it too challenging to fund his design. However, he is offered the chance to collaborate with one of the production team members and judges, Fujisawa Kazuki, to enhance the game design for the next round. Later, during dinner, Mashiro expresses her feelings of envy and loneliness. Sorata responds casually, but he expresses his gratitude for the picture she had drawn earlier. As night falls, Nanami asks Sorata for assistance in rehearsing the script. However, Sorata becomes anxious when encountering some of the romantic lines. Nanami reminds herself of her feelings for Sorata, while Mashiro observes them practicing, and confides her unease to her friend Ayano, who provides her with a stack of romance manga to read. 2 days before Valentine's Day, Yuko arrives at Sakurasou to prepare for her entrance exams. In the end, Yuko leans in to whisper to Sorata, asking him to make a choice between Nanami and Mashiro, who clearly have feelings for him. It's Valentine's Day, and the girls residing at Sakura Dormitory are busy preparing for their own individual plans. Nanami is getting ready for her audition. Misaki is plotting to give Jin some chocolate. Mashiro has asked Sorata to meet her after school, and Mashiro's friend Rita has returned from Europe to visit Rinosuke. After school, Sorata learns from Nanami that the trains aren't operating, jeopardizing her audition. So, Sorata decides to lend her a helping hand. He successfully reaches Nanami and ensures she makes it to the audition on time. Along the way, Nanami indirectly expresses her feelings by rehearsing her lines. Meanwhile, Jin fails to show up for his meeting with Misaki, and Rita returns home that evening after being rejected by Rinosuke. Sorata hurries back to meet Mashiro, and after apologizing for being late, she surprises him with some chocolate. She explains that she wanted to give it as a way to bridge the gap between them. Touched by her gesture, Sorata expresses his gratitude and agrees to Mashiro's request to hold hands. Back at Sakura Dormitory, Sorata reflects on Nanami's indirect confession, and begins to wonder if she was genuinely serious about her feelings. The deepening rift in Jin and Misaki's relationship has started to worry the inhabitants of Sakura Dormitory. One day, Sorata, Nanami, and Mashiro head to school only to discover that Yuko has not passed her entrance exam to their university. Sorata confronts Jin on the rooftop, and the two engage in a heated argument regarding Jin's recent treatment of Misaki. Nanami intervenes, bringing Misaki from the dormitory to facilitate a reconciliation between the couple. They make amends, with Jin making a promise to work at Misaki's forthcoming animation studio once he completes college. Returning to Sakura Dormitory, the residents receive startling news. The dormitory is slated for demolition at the end of the school year. Sorata reminisces about the day he initially relocated to the Sakura Dormitory. He was sent there because he couldn't keep his pet cat any longer. On his very first night, he encountered Misaki's enthusiastic welcome and met Jin, Ryanosuke, and Chihiro. In the early hours, he took a stroll in the park and ended up adopting another cat. Upon his return, he was taken aback by the surprise welcome party that Misaki had organized in his honor. Remembering this fond memory, Sorata decides to work with the other residents to find some way to save the dormitory from demolition. But the residents of the Sakura Dormitory soon face difficulties in collecting signatures from everyone to save the dorm. They come to discover that Mashiro is the reason why the dormitory is facing the threat of demolition, and Ryanosuke is showing little interest in lending a hand. At the close of the day, Nanami learns that she has once again fallen short in her attempt to pass her audition. Despite her disappointment, she conceals her feelings and assists everyone in their quest for signatures. Meanwhile, Ryanosuke's AI program called Maid confides in Rita about why Ryanosuke is reluctant to help, stemming from his depression. With the maid's permission and support, Rita contacts Ryanosuke and offers him encouragement to move forward and aid their cause. Much to everyone's surprise and delight, Ryanosuke decides to join in the effort the following day. As everything seems to be going smoothly for the residents of Sakura Dormitory, a rainy day brings about a series of emotional encounters. Sorata finds himself in a situation where he needs to console Nanami, who is struggling to overcome her recent disappointment. In the midst of a class, she breaks down in tears, and Sorata escorts her to the nurse's office. On his way to class, Sorata receives an unexpected call from Fujisawa, only to learn that his game proposal has been rejected. This news sends Sorata spiraling into a state of despair, despite Fujisawa's attempts to lift his spirits. While searching for Nanami, who wasn't at the nurse's office, Sorata stumbles upon her in the pouring rain. They confront each other about their recent setbacks, pouring out their feelings in front of one another. Eventually, they share a heartfelt hug and offer each other solace, an intimate moment witnessed by Mashiro. As the day comes to a close, Sorata discovers that Mashiro has received an enticing job offer from a game company, much to his dismay. This revelation prompts Mashiro to question whether she is the root cause of all their misfortunes for all the students at the dormitory. Mashiro departs from Sakura House, leaving her old life behind. As the other residents of Sakura Dorm realize her absence, they embark on a frantic quest to locate her. During this search, Nanami seizes an opportunity to convey a message she had promised Sorata leading up to a true confession, but she decides not to share her feelings at this point in time. As Sorata eventually locates Mashiro at the train station, he opens up his heart, expressing that things won't be the same if she departs. Mashiro suffers a minor breakdown, blaming herself for the Sakura dorm being threatened and the residents' unhappiness. Sorata admits that he often felt jealous of Mashiro's natural artistic abilities, and that this sentiment might be shared by the other residents. The Mashiro living with them has greatly improved, and inspired all of their artistic skills and challenged the residents to be better people. Nanami also arrives and tells Mashiro not to blame herself for Nanami's failed audition, and she gives Mashiro a hug. Eventually, Mashiro decides to stay. Later during the graduation ceremony, Misaki, who shares her personal journey and the meaningful experiences she has had while residing at Sakura Dormitory. As she concludes her speech, Misaki passionately implores her fellow students to rally together and preserve Sakura Dormitory from impending demolition. The students wholeheartedly endorse her plea, displaying their overwhelming support, which eventually leads to the dormitory being saved. It is the final days for the residents of the dormitory, as they will either be graduating or leaving for summer break. Nanami resolves not to abandon her dream of becoming a voice actress, and embarks on a journey to Osaka to seek her parents' approval to continue her studies at the university. Lita bids her farewell to Sakura Dormitory, sharing a stolen kiss with Ryanosuke before her departure back to Europe. Inspired by her boldness, Jin also kisses Misaki and hands her a signed marriage registration, a pact they intend to submit together upon his return, as he too departs for Osaka. Left alone in the dormitory, Mashiro summons her courage and asks Sorata for a kiss. However, one of his jealous cats intervenes, attacking him and resulting in a kiss on the cheek instead. Some time later, Nanami returns to Sakura Dormitory, having successfully persuaded her parents. Additionally, two new residents arrive, Iori Haimiya, who was expelled from the regular dorms for an incident involving peeping, and Kana Hayes, a reserved girl who desires a room of her own. During the welcome party for the newcomers, a surprising revelation unfolds. Yuko had, in fact, passed the entrance exams, but due to an error, she mistakenly provided Sorata with the wrong number to check the approval list. She is now a student at Suiko as well and could also live in the Sakura Dormitory. Meanwhile, Misaki, after discreetly processing the paperwork without Jin's knowledge, has moved to a nearby house and is now officially married to him. Soon the new term begins for the residents of the dorm, who look forward to pursuing their artistic dreams with new and old roommates alike. Meanwhile, Sorata thinks about his adventures with Mashiro and the dorm residents, and he looks forward to a new university term. And this is all for this video. Make sure to subscribe if you enjoyed it, and I will see you in the next one.